She had waited 14 months for this moment. Christmas Eve morning, alone in her living room.
My finger hovered over the send button. This email would change everything.
But to understand why she was here, we have to go back 3 months.
Who is Monica? And why is Charles texting her at 2 a.m.?
She confronted him that evening. The air in the room turned brittle.
Charles, we need to talk. I saw the messages. Who is Monica?
You're being dramatic. It's just harmless flirting, Ava. Don't make a scene.
He's trying to flip it, like I'm the paranoid one.
Maybe if you weren't so cold, I wouldn't have to look for warmth elsewhere.
She cried herself to sleep that night. But somewhere in that darkness, a resolve awakened. 14 months later, on Christmas Eve morning, she sat alone with an email that would set everything right. That email, however, was the end of a long and lonely road. It began when Ava told her family the truth.
Mom, Dad, I need to tell you something. Charles has been having an affair. I saw the messages.
Now, Ava, let's not be hasty. Charles is a good husband. He provides well for this family.
He's a good provider, sweetheart. You're being difficult. Marriage is about compromise.
Maybe if you paid more attention to him, he wouldn't have strayed. Men have needs.
I don't see the big deal. Guys will be guys. Relax, Ava.
They're not hearing me. They're already on his side. I'm invisible in my own family.
You need to be more accommodating, Ava. Don't throw away a good thing over a misunderstanding.
In that room, surrounded by the people who should have held her, Ava realized she was completely alone. She walked out, but not before something hard and cold settled in her chest. A plan would come later. The weeks that followed were a masterclass in family betrayal. By Thanksgiving, the lines had been drawn.
It's just that Charles is already coming, and you know how tense things are. We'll have you over another time, sweetheart.
She gripped the phone tighter, the silence in her apartment echoing everything she'd lost. Then the day came and went without her. At the dinner table, Charles sat where she should have been. No one mentioned her name, not once. But the cruelty didn't stop there. 2 weeks before Christmas, Charlotte posted the family holiday photo.
Our son. He was their son now, and I was nobody.
The picture showed them all smiling, Charles at the center, wrapped in the family she'd been severed from. That night, she didn't cry. She opened her laptop and started searching for a way to fight back. She didn't know what she was looking for yet, but she knew one thing. She would not be erased. The search led her to Rachel Kim, a divorce attorney known for finding what husbands hid.
He's cheated for years, and my family treats him like a saint. I want justice. Justice comes in dollars and documents, but you have to stay silent. Not a word to anyone. Say nothing. While they call him family and erase me from every photo.
Rachel Kim's strategy was brutal in its patience. Hire a forensic accountant to trace every hidden cent. The discovery file was sealed under court order. Charles would never know they were digging.
You're sure he won't find out until it's too late for him to spin this? Not until we're ready. And when that day comes, he'll wish he'd been honest.
The heavy courtroom doors closed behind her, sealing the discovery file and her secret. She stepped outside into the cold air, but for the first time in months, she felt warm. Spring turned to summer, then autumn. Ava became fluent in the language of nodding and swallowing bile. Every family gathering was a trial, but she showed up. The wounded ex-wife, playing her part.
You know, some of us actually have thriving marriages. Maybe take notes, Ava. Charles was a saint to put up with you.
Let her talk. The accountant is still digging. Every day brings me closer.
Your mother and I just don't understand why you can't be more pleasant about this. Charles is still family.
Exactly. We all have to make sacrifices for the sake of harmony. You're being so rigid.
Can we just eat? I'm tired of this soap opera. It's the same thing every week.
Ava smiled. It was a smile she'd perfected in the mirror, one that conveyed apology while hiding a storm. But as she pushed her food around the plate, she imagined the weight of the report she was building, one hidden transaction at a time. Months to go, and every insult she swallowed was another fuse lit for the morning she'd send that email. Then, in a dim office filled with ledgers, the forensic accountant found the first crack in the facade. The Schwab brokerage statement showed a balance of $190,000, held in an account Charles had never disclosed.
Ava stared at the number. The betrayal was deeper than an affair.
She called Rachel Kim immediately, her voice shaking with a strange cocktail of fury and validation.
This is just the beginning. If he hid this, there will be more. More. The word had never sounded so beautiful.
The statement was added to the growing file, a first brick in the wall she would eventually throw at Charles. She hung up and sat in silence, a cold fire spreading in her chest. The wait continued, but now she knew she wasn't chasing ghosts. Charles was a thief, and she had the map to bury him. The family didn't just side with Charles. They actively rewrote history, spreading a story designed to erase her credibility.
I'm telling you, Barbara, she's mentally unstable. Charles said she'd fly into rages for no reason. It's honestly better she's gone. Maybe now we can actually enjoy a family dinner without her drama. Everyone knows she's impossible.
Ava's fingernails bit into her palm. Unstable. They were actually calling her unstable. They're not just defending him anymore. They're trying to discredit everything I might say.
The word had been chosen carefully, a clinical label designed to undermine her before she could ever speak.
Let them laugh. Every whisper is another match thrown onto the bonfire I'm stacking.
In her mind, she saw the Schwab statement, the $190,000 of hidden truth. There would be more. She pushed off the wall, steadied her breath. Keeping silent wasn't weakness. It was the most empowering thing she'd ever done. And when she finally released what she'd been building, no one in that family would be able to look away. Weeks later, in that same dim office, the accountant uncovered something far more calculated. An LLC registered in Charles's name, funneling consulting income, $94,000 hidden over 3 years.
Ava stared at the LLC papers. He'd built a structure just to hide money from me.
She reached for her phone and dialed Rachel Kim, the weight of the evidence steadying her hand.
Active concealment. A hidden LLC routing consulting income. This meets the legal definition of fraud. Fraud. The word rang in her ears. It wasn't just betrayal, it was a crime.
The report thickened. The hidden accounts now totaled $284,000. Charles's signature on the LLC registration was a noose tightening around his own neck. The forensic accountant cautioned that the trail might not end there. There could be more. Ava simply nodded. She had learned that patience wasn't passive. It was the sharpest weapon she owned. The final hidden piece dropped 3 weeks later. A luxury boat, docked in a Florida marina, registered under a friend's name. The purchase receipt showed $58,000, paid from an account the accountant traced through a maze of shell companies.
A boat. In Florida. While he told me we couldn't afford a vacation.
It took the accountant another week to draw the line from the boat back to Charles, but the paper trail was unbroken. The final summary rested on her attorney's desk. 3 accounts, $342,000 hidden from the marital estate.
That number 342 burned itself into her memory. After everything, that was what her husband valued over their marriage.
She closed the forensic report binder, its weight heavier than she had imagined. For the first time in 14 months, she allowed herself a single, cold smile. The evidence was complete. Now all that remained was the question of when and how to let it detonate. She had the detonator in her hands. All she had to do was choose the moment. They met at Rachel Kim's office. Ava placed the binder on the desk.
This report guarantees you'll recover the hidden assets. Charles can't contest this. I'm not just fighting for money. My family needs to know exactly who they've been defending. Releasing court-sealed material to third parties could complicate the divorce proceedings. You understand the risk? The risk is watching them toast to Charles while I'm painted as crazy. I'll take my chances.
Rachel Kim nodded slowly and opened the file. Together, they drafted an email summary that was both clinical and devastating. The subject line was simple. Regarding Charles's hidden assets, Ava decided on the timing. 9 a.m., Christmas Eve, when the family would be together, opening gifts, unsuspecting.
They'll be sitting around the tree, probably toasting his name. Then their phones will light up.
She saved the draft without blinking. The final piece of her plan had clicked into place. In the days that followed, Ava didn't just save the draft. She began the last piece of the puzzle. She needed every adult family member to receive the email, so she compiled addresses one by one.
Uncle Robert, Aunt Susan, even my cousin's wife. Everyone who'd heard the rumors and never asked me.
As she worked, memories came uninvited and sharp, Charlotte's laughter spreading the unstable rumor.
And Stephen shrugging, like my pain was a commercial break.
Kenneth's lectures about being accommodating, Barbara's condescending smiles. All of it had led to this.
And that photo, last Christmas, with him in my place. Our son. I still feel the sting.
She clicked on the final name. The list was complete, 47 people who had believed the worst of her. She saved the list and closed the laptop. The only thing left was the date. 14 months of silence. And on Christmas Eve, every single one of them would hear the truth. On the night of December 23, Ava sat in the same chair, the draft open on her screen.
Everything I've held back for 14 months was compressed into these few paragraphs.
She reviewed the words one last time. Clinical, damning, and absolutely airtight. Then she attached the forensic accounting summary, the court seal visible in the corner.
This is the line. Once I schedule it, there's no undoing the damage.
Her cursor flickered to the schedule send option. She set it for 9 a.m., Christmas morning. Her finger pressed the button. The action was so small, yet it changed everything. The confirmation screen glowed softly. At the appointed hour, the email would deliver.
47 names, every uncle, aunt, cousin who never asked for my side.
She closed the laptop and sat in the dark. The bomb was set. All she had to do was wait. The clock struck 9. In 47 inboxes, Ava's email landed with quiet precision. In the family living room, tissue paper rustled and coffee steamed. Then phones began to buzz. Barbara's hand trembled as she stared at the screen, a choked sound escaping her.
This is from Ava. She's been silent for months, and she's been holding this.
Charlotte's mocking expression vanished the instant she scrolled past the dollar amounts.
I helped spread rumors about a woman whose husband stole $342,000.
Stephen's coffee cooled in his hand, untouched, as he read the summary twice.
Tell me this is a hoax. Tell me we didn't disown my sister for that.
Charles's face across the room drained of color. The subject line alone was a verdict. The cheerful Christmas music played on, but inside the house, a different silence had begun. The family group chat erupted. Messages stacked like a digital fire alarm. Is this real? Ava just nuked Christmas. Not a single message said we should have believed her. Charles's phone buzzed with Barbara's name. He hesitated, then answered.
Barbara, listen to me. That email is fabricated. Ava's been trying to destroy me since I left her.
But the court stamp, Charles. I'm looking at it. $342,000, itemized.
It's a misunderstanding. I was protecting investments. For us. For the family.
Barbara's sobs grew louder as she read the LLC registration, the boat purchase, the brokerage account.
We didn't just defend a liar. We chose the liar over our own daughter.
Charles's voice cracked. The polished facade dissolved into something ugly and desperate. Across the room, Kenneth watched his wife shatter, his own faith in the man he'd called son crumbling into dust. Barbara and Kenneth stood by the tree, too stunned to speak. The doorbell rang again, another relative, another wave of shame.
This is all on you, Mom. You told everyone he walks on water. Now look at what we've done.
I was trying to hold this family together. No one told me he was hiding 6 figures.
Kenneth's jaw tightened. He stared at the floor, saying nothing. The image of the perfect son-in-law shattered in real time.
I can't be here. You all made this mess. I'm out.
Typical. Run away. That's what we do, right? Just like we ran from Ava when she tried to tell us.
Barbara sank onto the couch, head in her hands. No one looked at their phones. No one called Ava. The extended family whispered in corners, digesting the numbers. The man they'd welcomed was a fraud. Outside, Stephen's car pulled away, disappearing from a family that was itself falling apart. Not one of them picked up the phone to dial her number. The weight of their mistake pressed them into a stunned paralysis. That evening, Ava's phone buzzed on the coffee table. The caller ID read Mom.
14 months of silence and now she calls. I almost let it ring out.
Ava, sweetheart, please listen. I didn't know. Charles lied to all of us. I'm so sorry.
For 9 minutes, Barbara pleaded. The words blurred, blaming Charles, begging for understanding. Ava listened in silence. Her jaw remained tight. The apology she'd needed for a year felt hollow now.
I'm going to need you to apologize in writing.
In writing? I'll do it. Whatever you need, please, Ava.
She said yes too quickly. But a written apology would be something I could hold.
The line went dead. The demand hung in the air of 2 separate homes. She had taken back the power. The next move was Barbara's, and Ava would be patient. 2 days later, a thick envelope slid through Ava's mail slot. Inside was Barbara's handwriting, cramped and urgent. Ava read it standing in the kitchen. 4 paragraphs of regret and self-recrimination.
She's sorry I was humiliated. Sorry she called Charles a saint. It's all here, but it doesn't undo the year.
She folded the letter along its original creases and walked to her bedroom closet. Inside a small wooden box, she placed the apology beside the forensic report and the divorce filing. She closed the lid. She did not reply. The apology would stay in that box, a document to be held, not hugged. Across town, Charles stood in his lawyer's office, the air thick with defeat.
The forensic report is airtight, Charles. The settlement proposal will grant her everything she's asking.
Everything I hid, everything I stole, she's going to take it all.
The lawyer's pen scratched across a settlement draft. Across the city, Ava sat in silence. The box closed, the war almost over. 2 weeks later, Ava walked into the courthouse conference room. The settlement papers waited on the oak table.
Ava, this settlement grants you 100% of the discovered hidden assets, plus your full statutory share. Charles has no recourse, 100%. The boat, the LLC, the brokerage, every hidden cent is mine. He didn't just lose, he was stripped.
She signed her name on the final line. The pen strokes were deliberate, each one erasing a year of humiliation. A cashier's check for the settlement sum was slid across the table, the exact figure of every hidden dollar. She shook Rachel Kim's hand, the grip of a woman who had refused to be erased. Across the room, Charles sat motionless, his lawyer's hand on his shoulder. He didn't look up.
He built a life on secrets. Now I own the boat he bought, the business he hid. He owns nothing but shame.
She walked out into the winter sun, the courthouse doors closing with a heavy finality behind her. She paused on the steps and looked up. For the first time in over a year, the sky felt open. Within 48 hours of that email, Charles's name had become poison in the family's mouth.
He is not welcome in this house again. Not for Sunday dinner, not for anything. I cannot look at him.
We should have listened. We chose a liar over our daughter and paraded him around like a trophy.
Charlotte stared at her phone, scrolling through the posts she'd made mocking her sister.
I called her crazy. I laughed, and she had these numbers on her desk the whole time.
One by one, she deleted every post, every snide comment. The screen became blank, but the shame lingered. Stephen avoided everyone's calls. He'd shrugged off his sister's pain, and now the weight of his indifference pressed him into hiding. The family group chat lit up once more, with a message no one had dared to type before. We were wrong about Charles. Charles himself sat in a sterile apartment, uninvited and unmourned. The provider had provided only ruin. And still, none of them called Ava. Not because they didn't want to, but because they finally understood that silence was all she'd ever asked of them. Christmas morning arrived, and for the first time in years, Ava woke without dread. She made coffee and sat by her own small tree. No crowd, no performance.
No one to impress, no one to erase me from a photo. Just quiet.
Afternoon light filled the room as she pulled out a notebook and a pen. She began writing names. Not for revenge, but for a dinner she'd host next year.
Only the people who never doubted me. The ones who called to ask if I was okay.
The list was short. A cousin, an old friend, an aunt who'd once sent a message defending her. She imagined a table set for them, candles and good china, laughter untainted by betrayal. She folded the list and placed it in the wooden box, next to the apology letter and the settlement check. Christmas was over, but next year's would be hers on her terms, in her home. 1 year later, Ava's kitchen was fragrant with roast chicken and rosemary.
The guest list fit on a post-it note. That was the point.
She set the table with candles and the good china, the same she'd once used for family dinners that felt like cross-examinations. The doorbell rang, and the room filled with the few voices she trusted. Later, with the meal winding down, she raised her glass.
To those who see us. Not the version others invent, but who we actually are.
Glasses lifted. Laughter followed, real and unforced.
Charles was a footnote now, a line in a court document. I didn't even think to mention him.
The evening unwound in easy conversation, no one performing, no one keeping score. When the last guest left, she stood by the window, watching the taillights disappear. The box of apologies stayed closed in the closet. The apartment grew quiet. Ava didn't move from the window.
The letter was still in the box. I could picture every word, but I didn't need to read it again. It was proof, not connection. And I stopped needing proof a long time ago.
She made fresh coffee and stood barefoot on the cool floor. The box stayed shut. For a long moment, she simply breathed. The anger was gone, replaced by something quieter.
It wasn't forgiveness. It was something stronger. Indifference.
She walked to the closet and touched the lid of the box, then let her hand fall away without opening it. The woman who needed that apology had already been set free. And without a backward glance, Ava walked into the rest of her life. The house she left behind in her mind stayed silent, but she didn't turn to check.